Hey guys, this is Roman. As you can tell, I am in lovely and sunny northern Sonoma, California, reviewing this, the most luxurious, probably the most expensive Range Rover ever built. This is the brand new Range Rover SV Signature Suite, and it is a over-the-top, very expensive, very luxurious Range Rover that is both comfortable as a driver and, of course, more comfortable as a passenger. Let me give you a sneak peek in here. Look at this. This is the Signature Suite Edition, and there are a lot of really cool features and fun things I'm going to show you in this video. But before we get to that, let's kind of take a quick walk around. Range Rover, of course, has designed these taillights that hide, and you really can't see them until you light them up. And they've kind of done this pinched back end to give this big vehicle a sense of, well, smallness, but it is very big. And of course, since this is a very successful vehicle, this is more of an evolutionary design than a revolutionary design. Perhaps the most interesting thing about it is the wheels. Those are 23s from the factory. Come standard on 21s, and there are about 5 different variations on 22s, and I think 3 different variations on 23s. And this, of course, has the 23s. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you how much this costs, or actually how much it starts at, and you will be, well, I think you'll be surprised. You can tell it has a tow hitch. It tows about 8,000 pounds, so if you are towing a horse trailer or perhaps your boat, this vehicle will do it comfortably. And under the R is where you hit the button to open up this clam-shaped back end, and this has the optional carpeted rear seat so that you can sit back here and you could tailgate. And if you're an owner of a vineyard, you could look out onto your grapes, Merlot in this case, as they mature. Lots of room back here. This is, of course, the 4-seater version. It comes in a 3-row as well, so you can actually get your entire family here if you choose to get the bigger 3-row. But this is the longer version of the Range Rover, so this is, in a way, the most luxurious. You'll note the door handles that open and come out, and that's for better aero. And then this is a design cue back here. Basically separates the bonnet from the rest of the vehicle. I talked to the designer about that. And it feels like in this generation of Range Rover, they took the last gen and kind of just pulled everything back, like it was in a wind tunnel, and made it much more aero, much more rounded, much more smooth. So let's look under the hood. That should be pretty straightforward. There are several engine choices. This one is a BMW sourced twin turbo V8. Puts out 535 horsepower, I believe, and really scoots this vehicle along. Now, if you want to know how it drives, I suggest you head on over to alltfl.com, where we have all of our reviews. I took it off-road the other day, and that video has also been posted. Yep, I took a Range Rover with 23s off-road. So before we get to the more interesting part, which is, of course, the back seat, let's talk about the other interesting part, which is the front seat. So there are some really cool features here, and those include, and I'll just point out some of the stuff that I found most interesting. First and foremost, you've got this like double shark fin on the roof, and in one of the shark fins is a camera, and that allows you to, of course, switch between this view, and you can tell I'm using my phone because, well, that's how we roll nowadays. It's not as wide, and when we had our Defender, I found this camera to be especially useful in bad weather. So when there's rain or snow that clogs up the rear window, or perhaps you've got a very tall celebrity sitting in the back seat, you can use this view. It not only is wider, but it is much clearer. Now the new Range Rover infotainment system is much quicker than the old one. I found the old one to be a little bit clunky and a little bit slow, and there are some really interesting features that I think you'll like. First and foremost, here's a really cool one. Let me show you this air quality. Now, as you know, they sell a lot of Range Rovers in China, and China is not known for its good air. And I think this is part of that, or it could be part of COVID. Basically, it tells you the quality of the air, both on the inside of the car and on the outside. And you can kind of see that both inside and outside are interesting and are clean, Now it's actually cleaning up the inside, so you're at 3 particles per whatever that is on the outside and 6, but if you let this run, that number will go down to 0. But it goes one step beyond that. It actually also tells you the exterior air quality, and the way that it does that is it uses its connectivity to reach out to the nearest weather station air quality monitor, and it looks and sees, in this case, I think it's Heldsburg monitoring station, what the air quality is there. And then you can hit this button and it will actually show you the pollutants in the air, not only where you're at, which is pretty cool, but if you wanted to, you can hit this, your destination, where you're going. So if air quality is important to you, if you're worried about the virus perhaps, this is all part of a really interesting system that lets you do that. Now, of course, for me, the other interesting thing is the cameras and the 4-wheel drive system. So let me go back here and let me hit the cameras. Where are my cameras? Of course, I can't find my cameras now. Come on, Roman, where are your cameras? There they are, right there. And, you know, they do one of the coolest tricks that goes way beyond just a 360 bird's eye view. They do this kind of almost Hollywood-like effect where you can spin the camera around and see the car as if it was being filmed from the outside. So you can see I'm parked at a vineyard, you can see everything around me. And then of course you can switch cameras. So that's the front, that's the back, and then of course you can see the car from the side. It's really cool. And then if you're off-roading, what they do is 2 cool things. First and foremost, you still have your camera views, but this car comes with the optional, I'm calling it the off-road package, but basically gives you a center and a rear locker. And that is really cool because if you look over here, it's got something that a car like this probably doesn't have, and that's a low range. How about them apples, huh? And then for all of you Range Rover Land Rover fans, you'll know that the car, of course, has terrain management, so you can go mud and ruts, you can go sand, you can go rock crawl, water awaiting, and of course a configurable. If you just leave it in the auto position, it kind of figures it out for itself. And that is pretty darn cool for a car that costs as much as this. Now, in terms of competition, this vehicle competes with cars like, well, the Escalade, which, face it, is a little bit longer. This might be like an XL Range Rover. The Escalade would be a double XL vehicle, a little bit more room behind the third row. Everything from that to the G-Wagon, to the Porsche Cayenne, to the Tesla Model X, to the Navigator, any car that basically costs between $105,000 all the way up to $250,000. And keep in mind, like I said, they do make different versions of this. The base version starts at $104,000. So can you guess how much this one is? And like I said, there are different engine options. This one has the twin turbo V8, and let's talk some numbers here because I've got the little cheat sheet right here. So we're looking at horsepower 523, actually 553 pound-foot of torque, 0 to 60 in 4.5, and a top speed of 162 miles an hour. How much does it weigh? Well, once upon a time, 5,840 pounds would have been a lot. But today, in the world of Hummer EVs that weigh 9,200 pounds, this seems like a skinny mini. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it does seem like a skinny mini car. Like I said, there's also a straight 6 twin turbo that produces less power and is also a mild hybrid. And coming soon, there is a hybrid version of this that will have a 38 kilowatt hour battery, which is good up to about 40 miles of range. So if you want your Range Rover to be electrified, either go for the mild hybrid or wait for the full-on plug-in hybrid. Now, some of the cool features are there are speakers in the headrest back here, super luxurious, and those allow you to do things like noise cancellation. And then, I'm not a big fan of this, but I know a lot of you guys are, so let me show you something really fun, and that is, actually I can just do it probably this way. Yep, I can just go adjust my seat, because when you touch the seat control, it'll let you adjust it. But check this out, you have massaging seats that allow you to do things like a hot stone massage or a rolling massage. And that's, I believe, on both rows of this car. And if you get the 3-row, you can even get the heated seats in the back. So if you love your massaging seats, there is a variety of ultra luxurious options that you can choose from. All right, now something else that's unique is this is probably one of the only vehicles that has a refrigerator, not in the front, but in the front and in the back. And a refrigerator that has not one cold setting, but actually 2 cold settings. So 2 refrigerators, not one. And I think that's a good time to transition to the business end of this car, which has to be the rear seat. This is where, of course, you are ensconced in a cocoon of leather and luxury. I mean, just look at this. Your little back pillow, your super soft headrest, this incredible stitched seating, of course heated, I'm assuming cooled seats, seats that allow you to not only lower this little pad for your feet, but raise this one like you're in a first class jet. But let me show you some of the kind of the fun stuff back here. And this is where it gets a little funky. Now, let's say that you have a glass or a cup of coffee. Where do you put it? Oh, where do I put it? Well, I hit this button and check it out. Not only does the little lid open, but the coffee holder, cup holders raise up. And then when you hit it again, they go away. But there's more. Yep. This over here is a little table, and you hit this button. Come on. Oop, I just stopped it. Come on. And the table magically raises from the center stack. And then, because of course there are 2 occupants back here, you can fold it back. You can open it up on both sides, and then you can turn it toward me, or you can turn it toward the other occupant of the vehicle. How crazy and cool is that? And you're wondering, well, what do I put on this? Well, fear not, I will answer that question in a second. And the way that you put it away is you push it back, and of course you hit the button again, and quietly and gently and seamlessly it disappears into the center stack. Now, back here is the second refrigerator in this vehicle, and to open that, you hit the fridge button right there, and then you hit open. And the cool thing is, well, I'll show you. Let's open it because it's a big refrigerator. Not only do you have space for your Dom Perignon champagne back there, but 2 champagne flutes, what they're called, flutes, glasses, that can also be chilled. And I like little details like this where when you close it, not only does that close, but that closes, so it shows you what it's doing. And of course, if you want privacy, which you may, because chances are you're, high-end Hollywood mogul or movie star, you of course have full screens. And one of my favorite screens, let's see if I can get to it, is this one, the blinds. And I like this because what you can do is you can slide this like that with your finger, and of course it does exactly what it just did, which is slide closed. Now, now you can sit back here and you can feel like you are ensconced, like I said, not only in a cocoon of leather and luxury, but also of privacy. Let me open it up again. It's probably a little too dark for this video. Get some more of this California sunshine in here. I know, it rains up here. That's why we've got wine. We're at a vineyard. So yeah, this is one of those interesting cars that is both fun to drive from that seat and really fun to be in from this seat, because look at this. I mean, if I had a chauffeur, I'd be like, James, take me to the airport, to my private jet. Now, I started this review by saying, you'll be surprised by how much this costs. So this is the SV, which stands for, let me show you, special vehicle. And of course, the back is the signature suite, so that's that kind of back seat area of the vehicle. And you might be wondering, how much does all this goodness cost? And it's, not inexpensive. This particular model, with all this leather, BMW source power plant, and if you're a fan of Range Rover or Land Rover, you will know that BMW has owned this brand in the past, so it's not surprising that they would help apply the engine. But it starts at $218,000. So, makes the G-Wagon look affordable. Can I say that? And then if you're wondering about, the power of this engine, lots of torque, lots of horsepower. In fact, I got to drive both the V8 and the straight 6 twin turbo mild hybrid, and I think you really don't necessarily need. I'm here by myself, so excuse You want to try to put my seatbelt on and give you a little ride along with me. You really don't need this much horsepower, but do you want it? You know, the answer, of course, is yes. So let's just take it for a quick ride. I'll give you a little POV version of what I'm seeing so you can get a sense for what this vehicle is like.
After 800 feet, make a U-turn.
We do have the navigation going, so I'm going to try to turn that down. And, you know, it's a big vehicle, but I think it drives smaller than it really is. So as you go quicker, the vehicle becomes a little bit smaller. Now, the old Range Rover had this magic carpet ride. I believe that was the word they used. But having driven it, I always felt like the magic carpet was a little too carpet and not enough magic. And what I mean by that, it was not very well dynamically connected to the road and to the engine. This one, on the other hand, is much more alive, much more, God, you can really squeeze off those wipers, squeegee off those wipers very quickly. It's much more connected to the road. And then you do have a dynamic mode if you really want to feel the road, as opposed to, you know, have it kind of like I'm doing right now, waft you along down the street. So let's give it a little bit of power, see just how much BMW power moves a 5,000 plus pound car. I think that's going to be interesting. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a squeeze of the throttle.
After half a mile, turn slightly left.
There we go. Oh yeah. Yeah, and that's already going way too fast. But that does feel like 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. A lot of low end torque. And actually a lot of grip from these Pirellis because, well, they're 23s. The steering is much more connected than the old car was. I feel like they've done a much better job in incorporating the driving dynamics of a sporty car with the luxury of a Range Rover. Now, if it were me, I suspect I would wait for the Range Rover Sport to come along. That has always been the one that's been just a little bit more, that has just been a little bit more sporty. It's been a little bit more youthful, a little bit more fun to drive. This one, while it's, you know, luxurious and comfortable, is just a little bit double XL for me. So if you're a fan of Range Rover, you know that when the Range Rover comes, the Range Rover Sport is next on the list. All right, guys, well, thank you for taking this ride with me. Thank you for watching this video. Remember, check out alltfl.com for more news, views, and, of course, real-world reviews. And you get our TikToks, you get everything that we've done. It's like Colorado. There are bicyclists even in the rain. And, yeah, it's much better. Is it $218,000 better? You know, I think if you're a buyer of this car, you probably are more interested in sitting in the back seat than in the front seat. And for guys like me who like the front seat, I'd recommend you might wait for the Range Rover Sport. All right, see you guys next time. Ciao.